sometime this week. So let's talk about all of this, because a lot of different opinions put into the mix of where we're going here with our federal budget. Republican Roy Blunt is on the Senate Appropriations Committee, and he joins us now. Good to have you with us this morning, sir. Welcome.
Hey, Martha, nice to be with you.
It's great to have you with us. So, you know, you listen to John Boehner. He says we're dug in our heels on one issue, and that is that we're not going to see, a return to an increase in taxes for the wealthy in this country. And you heard his reasoning for that. Where do you go from there?
Well, I actually think the president's doing exactly what he was doing 2 years ago today, and for the 2 years that ended in November, at the November election. For 2 years, the president said we're going to raise taxes on the very people that we would hope to create jobs. And we're exactly where we were 2 years ago today. We're less than 2 years from the current tax rates being raised. And frankly, if you don't reward risk, people don't take risk. And if they don't take risk, you don't create opportunity. And so we can't continue to send this message that makes it harder to create jobs. The focus of the federal government right now should be private sector job creation and how to get spending under control. And if we're not focusing on those two things, we're talking about the wrong issues. And raising taxes doesn't solve this problem.
I get your point. What we're likely to hear, though, from the president is that we've heard from Jay Carney that he's going to talk about balance. That if senior citizens have to, make sacrifices, that if poor people have to make sacrifices in this new budget plan and this attempt to get our deficit under control, that the rich and those over $250,000 a year in salary will also have to share in the sacrifice here. What do you think about that?
Well, I think what the president's been very good at doing is sacrificing those jobs that people otherwise would have. The very people that we hope to bring up in our society, he's sacrificing jobs. And by the way, no senior citizen by any definition that anybody over, say, 18 or 20 years old would possibly use will be affected by any change anybody's talking about. If 40-year-old people are seniors, if 50-year-old people are seniors, I'm surprised by that. Those are the people that you're trying to create a better system for. There's no change for senior citizens, but the president will say that repeatedly. His spokesperson will say that repeatedly. I guess they think people in their 40s and 50s are senior citizens, and nobody else in America should believe that.
Well, there'll be a lot of debate about those issues and who's going to get hurt here. So, when you do look at the cuts that need to be made, and this is a central discussion to everybody in this country right now, that we have to deal with this $14.2 trillion debt. It's going up every second on the clock right behind me.
Right.
Where would you cut? Would you cut agencies? What would you suggest, having Washington for such a long time? What needs to be said here?
Well, of course, being in Washington for a long time is no longer any advantage. And, of course, I was in the House leadership with the leaders we just heard from, and I think they're on the right path. We have to have everything on the table. We need to figure out how government works smarter and more results-focused, as well as much as just how much money can we spend. What results are we getting for the money we do spend? How do we produce better results for a less investment? That's what everybody else in America has been doing for 20 years, or they're out of business right now. If they weren't thinking every day, how do we produce a better product and spend less money than we're spending now? Only the government still thinks you show how much you care about something based on how much you spend on it, rather than the results you get. And then the government doesn't need to do things at the state, local, and national level. Don't need to be doing the same things. We need to get the federal government back into the business of being the federal government.
All right, Senator, thank you very much. It's a very serious debate, and we're going to be getting it launched in a new way this afternoon with the president's speech. We thank you for your time today, Senator Roy Blunt.
In the meantime,